I'm Leah. I am the owner and founder of Leah Borski Wellness and Nurtured for Success. And I'm here to walk you through a really simple and streamlined 3-step process to create your own personalized, flexible, and freak-out-free daily schedule so that you can more easily balance work and life and manage your stress and maintain simple wellness practices and stress relief habits in the process. So a little bit about me, just so that you understand, first of all, why I'm qualified to teach you this process, kind of how it came about, and why I'm so passionate about sharing it with other purposeful women who are overwhelmed and tend to self-neglect, and helping you avoid burnout, because that is a serious factor for all of us trying to balance all this at the same time. So first of all, I've been working from home for the last 14 years. I started working remotely with a corporation in the medical field in 2005. So I worked there for 7 years, and then the past 7 years I have been running my own wellness coaching business and writing books. I wrote a best-selling book, Eat to Beat Stress, and then the last 5 years I've been homeschooling my kids as well while running my business. And I've also been 20 years with my husband and supporting him in his military career throughout that time, which has led to some challenges as far as balancing work and schooling and life in general, specifically because conditions are kind of always changing. So sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. He's been deployed or relocated without us for weeks and months at a time, and I've had to figure out how to manage that with him gone without support. Also, that military lifestyle, if you're not aware, it's a lot of relocation. So doing all that stuff and then picking up our lives and moving all over the country every 1 to 3 years for the last 20 years. So you can imagine how, if you aren't familiar, you can imagine how challenging and stressful that can be. So I'm no stranger to stress, that's for sure, which I want you to understand. And also, about 5 years ago, right as I was starting homeschooling my kids, and I'm not telling you to freak you out, but just to share a bit of my own personal story, trying to balance schooling and my business and military life and my own self-care all at the same time, brand new to me, was very stressful, and I suffered through a really challenging and debilitating period of burnout. And so what I was inspired to do after I was able to work myself through that and pull myself out of that was to create this schedule that's flexible, not super rigid, because that can backfire on us really horribly, right? Some of us don't do well with solid, rigid guidelines. We need a little more flexibility, a little more flow. And I realized at that time that I was trying to cram myself into this ideal schedule and workflow, and it wasn't working, and I was banging my head against a wall. So this process that we're going through today is literally a streamlined and distilled version of a process that really took me 14 years of learning and trial and error to perfect and master, and now use for the last 5 years. And it has helped me exponentially in being able to manage all these different aspects of my life. And so I want to share that with you to hopefully help make this transition easier for you, whether you are new to schooling from home or new to working from home, or both all at the same time and it just kind of got dumped in your lap, or even if you've been working from home for a while, but you just can't seem to get that balance dialed in. This is exactly the process that's going to help you get that dialed in and get that figured out. So let's dig right in. First of all, I want you to go ahead and pause this video, and right below this, you're going to see an image of a worksheet that I want you to go ahead and print out. So go ahead and pause this, print out the worksheet, grab a pencil, grab some water or a cup of tea, get cozy, and get ready, because we're going to go through this step by step and get you set up with your schedule right now in real time. Okay, so now that you have your supplies, you're settled in, you're ready to dig in, let's do this. So I want to start with 3 key points to remember as you're going through this process and as you're going through your days, because every day is going to be different no matter how much you plan for it. Excuse me. No matter how much you plan, life happens. Everything doesn't always go according to plan. We know that, right? So I want you to remember, number 1, every day will not be perfect, and that's okay. All right. So give yourself permission right now to be okay with the fact that every day is not going to go according to plan, and it's all right. And you're doing your best, and that is what matters the most. Okay. A lot of times we tend to waste a lot of effort and energy beating ourselves up, judging ourselves, shoulding all over ourselves, right? And that is not productive use of our time or energy. So I really, really want to encourage you to try to let that go. I know it can be hard, but it is possible, even for the perfectionists and the type A's and the hard chargers among us, myself being one. So you're not alone, but I want you to understand it's okay. So let's see, giving yourself grace. Remember, give yourself grace, okay? Number 2, key point is make this your own, okay? So trying to cram your life into someone else's box is frustrating, it's overwhelming, and it's depleting. And my mission in my business is helping women reclaim control of their energy. So this is a key aspect of that. It's so important that you do what works for you. And sometimes it's a little bit of a learning curve. This today is going to help you shorten that curve, flatten that curve, give you kind of a fast track to help you figure that out, like on turbo mode, because we don't have time. I know you don't have years to figure this out now. You're kind of in like sink or swim mode, right? So we're going to swim. Let's see. Number 3 is enlist your partner for support and delegate. So this one is tough for most women that I talk to. Asking for help is not something that's easy for us to do. We feel like we should be able to do this all on our own. Literally every client I've ever worked with has needed some help and support with this. And so letting you know that's normal and it's okay. But also life is going to be a lot more easy and a lot more enjoyable if you let that go and let your family help you, okay? If you do not know how to do that, if you have trouble creating boundaries around your time or your space or your energy, if you don't know how to get your kids motivated to help out around the house, or how to create a chore chart or a task system or things like that, I'll be telling you at the end I have a special separate workshop that's all about that. So I will tell you at the end how you can get that. But first we're going to move on and we're going to get right into our 3 simple steps. So 3 simple steps to build your personalized schedule. You have your printout, your worksheet, your schedule, your template, whatever you want to call it, okay? So first, you're going to notice that I've separated this into blocks instead of doing hour by hour, because there's a couple reasons. First of all, we all don't work on the same time clock schedule. So some of us get up at 5, some of us get up at 8, some of us, are night owls, some of us work best early in the morning when it's quiet and everyone's still in bed. That's me. But we're all different. So I feel like I've seen a lot of daily schedules floating around, and they're very rigid and they're very tight and they're very crammed full of stuff. And even knowing what I know, I look at those and they feel really overwhelming. So if you are not, haven't had practice with having your kids at home all day since they were littles, or teaching them lessons, academics, or you've always worked in an office and now you're trying to just figure out the logistics of being at home, let alone manage your life while you're working in the same space, it can be overwhelming and it can be frustrating. And I'm here to ease that for you, to alleviate some of that stress and pressure. First of all, it's okay to take your time and figure out what works for you. So we're going to go 3 simple steps. So first of all, if you take a minute and just look at the breaks, at the blocks, you'll see that there is time designated for work, there's time designated for family time, and there's time designated for kids learning, as well as meal times, which I heard is not even included on some of those schedules. You've got to have time to eat, very important. And then you'll also notice at 3 points during the day, I included me time little mini breaks. So like these are mini, like 2 minutes, anywhere from 2 minutes to 15 minutes, okay? These are super important. These are going to help you manage your stress, maintain your patience, have a plan for when you need to take a mommy time out, recenter, okay? These are essential. And the reason why is because I know it seems counterintuitive, but if you don't pause and take breaks and tune into yourself and take care of yourself during the day, you are going to put yourself on the fast track to burnout. You're going to have way less patience with your kids. This time home with them is going to be way less enjoyable. You're going to not be as productive with your work and getting those deadlines met and being efficient with your projects and all those sorts of things, okay? So these are non-negotiables. You're going to take these, and you'll find on the link, if you scroll down the page a little bit underneath this video, there's a link to 5-minute energy boosters cheat sheet that you can use to help you know what to do during these break times. And there's also a 2-minute stress relief cheat sheet that you can also use as well. Okay, so now that we've got kind of the baseline understanding of what we're looking at on this sheet, I'm going to go through the 3 simple steps, and we're going to personalize your daily schedule right now. Okay, so number 1, you're going to choose anchor points and build your time blocks out from there. So what does that mean? Like I said earlier, some of us are early risers, some of us are not. Some of us like to stay up later in the day. And so if you built your block schedule, I'm going to give you an example. If you built your block schedule using a wake up time of 6 a.m., okay? You'd start your sanity saving morning routine at 6 a.m. And then you would, if you did this and then used the maximum time for each block and mapped it out, at the end, your bedtime is going to be 11 p.m. That's going to give you 7 hours of sleep, okay? Maybe you don't function as well on 7 hours of sleep. You need a little bit more. So a second example would be to use your wake up time and your bedtime as anchor points. So you're going to start, if you started your wake up time at the same time, 6 a.m., but you want to be in bed by 9:30 p.m., that would give you, let me look. Sorry, I'm scrolling down. Okay. You start your first block at 6 a.m. You adjust your bedtime to 9:30 p.m. That gives you 8.5 hours of sleep. Well, where did you get the extra hour and a half out of your day from? Easily. All you're going to do is look at the 3 blocks where the maximum block time is 3 hours and cut that down by half an hour. Cut each block down by half an hour. So that is the morning work and kids independent learning block, the sanity saving morning routine block, and the work and kids independent learning and quiet time in the afternoon block. So All you have to do is cut each of those down by a half an hour, and you're giving yourself an hour and a half. Either earlier bedtime or use a time for something else. Tack it onto one of the other blocks if you need to. Okay? Those are two really simple ways to adjust this and make it your own. So if you scroll down on the page of this post, you'll see I mapped out two example schedules using those exact anchor points, so you can see what the time frames look like, and then you can plug those in. So I would write the time here. If nothing else, even if you don't want to map out the times for all through the day, if you at least map out that you are getting up at 6 and you're going to bed at 9:30, that will help you stay focused on those times, and then everything else will start to filter into place as you go throughout the day. Some other anchor points that you might want to play with might be your family dinner time. If you always eat dinner at 6 o'clock, use that, and then you would write your family evening routine here starts at 6 p.m. and then you would map out from there what the times would be, and that would stagger your wake up time, right? Another anchor point could be the time that your partner gets home from work, if that's applicable right now or ever. And then also another anchor point could be regularly scheduled meetings or appointments, things that you always have on your calendar that happen at the same time. You can use those to anchor in your schedule and then block out from there. Okay? Step number 2 is you're going to make lists of each category of tasks. This is kind of like a brain dump exercise. So your categories are work, school, physical activity, self-care and stress relief, household tasks and chores, family fun time. It's very important that your schedule includes relaxation, fun time, connected time, outside time. This doesn't need to be overwhelming. It's all mapped out on this sheet, okay? But what you're going to do with the category lists is list out specific things that need to happen and that you want to have happen. So an example of a physical activity could be family bike rides. It could be walking your dogs. It could be your morning workout that you do by yourself. It could be yoga that you do together as a family. That sort of thing. Any kind of like active play, active games, things like that. Things you know your family and or you like to do, enjoy doing. Especially if you're all cooped up at home, you really need to take that time and get moving, okay? So, let's see, what's another example I could do for a brain dump? So another thing is like household tasks. What's all the things that need to be done around the house every day if you don't already have a system for doing that, or chore charts or things like that, right? You're gonna list them all down, everything that you can think of, okay? And then step number 3 is you're gonna fill in the must-dos first. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we go through the day and let's just say we had this just how it is, and we're like, oh, okay, well, I know that at lunchtime we're gonna cook, eat, and clean up, and then we're gonna do hands-on lessons with the kids, which means you're working with them. It's gonna be something that you need to be present for, like a science experiment / project, or something of that nature. Maybe math is a thing that like you need to be with them hands on to do. They can't kind of go and do that independently. Those sorts of things. But if you haven't listed anything here, it's a time waster because you're going to spend time frantically looking for what's the thing, what are we going to do? Meanwhile, the kids are going crazy, they're getting bored. It falls apart real fast. So, let's see. Okay, so you're going to pick your top priority tasks from your list that you already made. So if you made a list of, say, kids learning, right? You're going to go down the list and circle the stuff that's most important, top priority. So anything like assignments that their teachers have sent home or school has sent home that they need to be doing while the schools are closed, right? Anything related to study of core subjects, reading, physical activity, and creative play or projects. Anything that's like learning based, that they need to do before they do the other stuff, or that takes higher priority than like free play or toy time or TV time, things like that. Okay. Same thing for work. So if you have a list of your work tasks, you're going to prioritize your high focus tasks, and plug those in first, especially in the places where you know that you're going to have time to be able to do that because you have the kids busy doing other things. So your morning routine time or your afternoon work time while the kids are independent learning or quiet time. Those are perfect places to plug in your high priority work tasks. So that would be any deadline oriented work, client sessions, staff meetings, any projects that you're working on that you need to be highly focused. So that would not be the time when you're checking email or scrolling social media or setting up your social media posts, things like that. Like those are the kind of things that you can do while the kids are kind of like right there with you, and might need your help. So let's see. One more thing. So family time. You might have a list of things, and it might help you too to make this list so that you have some ideas so that you're not like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. Because maybe family time in the past you haven't had that much family time available, and now you have a whole bunch. So what are you going to do with it? So making lists, and even in getting the kids involved with this list, and your partner, if you have one, involved with this list, and like brainstorming stuff like, what do we want to do while we're here all together? Is there any movies that we want to watch? Any games that we like to play? Any places outdoors that we can go, like away from people? So hiking, or bike rides, or, family walks, or walking your dogs, or that sort of thing. So those things are important, and it helps to have a list. So that concludes this. It's simple to map out. It's a starting point and something to help keep you grounded and centered, and a place that you can go back to on those days when you're kind of like frazzled, and things are a little bit out of control, because that will happen. So it helps just mentally, It helps relieve that mental overload of trying to figure things out on the fly all day long. It alleviates the decision fatigue of trying to figure that stuff out like at the drop of a hat all day long with input from multiple other people, right? So this helps you be prepared and alleviate some of that mental load, okay? So let's see. The one other thing that I wanted to share is just a couple bonus tips. Firstly, follow your own natural rhythm. So obviously, if you're not a 6 a.m. wake up kind of person, or you've tried it in the past and it's not worked, don't try to cram yourself into that right now to fit this. This fits you, okay? This is working for you. You're not working for it, okay? This schedule is meant to custom fit your life the way that works for you, because that's what is going to work best for you. So, also, something that took me a really long time to realize is that my kids don't necessarily always have the same rhythm as me. So they will fluctuate. And so it helps just to be aware of that and have some extra things on hand for those times when maybe they're a little bit more antsy, or maybe they're a little bit more sluggish and they're not fitting in to your daily plan. It helps to create more patience, and it helps them. And the thing I really want to drive home is you are the center of your universe in your house. You are. You're the core. You're the sunshine. You're the sun. Everything revolves around you, right? So if you're in a crappy mood, it's a domino effect on kind of everyone in the house, right? If your partner is in a crappy mood and you fall into that, it's a domino effect on everyone in the house. If you are able to ground yourself and be in a place of just internal, like, I got this, calm, prepared, determined to just do your best, and that's enough, and it's okay, and it's all gonna be okay, that radiates out into everything that you do. And I promise you, your kids will be calmer, your partner will be calmer, they will feel more secure. And especially with things, I know, like, it's hard even for us as adults to not feel overwhelmed and kind of out of sorts with everything that's going on. So the more that you can support yourself, the easier it's going to be for you to support your family and help them feel safe and secure and supported through all this change that's going on, okay? So the other bonus tip I wanted to share, because I did have a specific question from someone who asked me about this scheduling system, is kids who need kind of more one-on-one time or interaction. So firstly, I really want to encourage you to kind of keep track or be mindful of what triggers that in your kid. Sometimes it can be a simple lack of sleep or being off schedule, or not eating enough, or too much time in between meals, or their diet has changed like altogether because they're eating more whatever than usual, or less fruits and veggies or things like that. So those are things that like highly affect kids and their moods, and also be aware that just the situation that like everything's different really fast and really suddenly really, really, really can kind of push kids who even normally wouldn't be super clingy to be very clingy. They don't know what's going on, and they just need that reassurance that there's a safety net, right? That there's a comfort zone, that there's a place where they can be and feel okay, right? So another thing, two more things that I want to share that can help with that. If you can add some even like 15 to 20 minute special one-on-one time chunks into any of those blocks where you're like shut off from everything else and you're just really invested and attentive to being with them in whatever they're doing or whatever they want to do, you're filling their cup. And then it's easier to set boundaries around, okay, we did this together and now I'm going to go and I need to, take care of my work or have some me time or whatever. And then once I'm done with that, we'll come back and we'll do the next thing, whatever that is. Maybe give them something to look forward to so that they know, like, you're not going to go sit at your computer for 5 hours and leave them alone with nothing to do or not knowing what to do or missing you or feeling left out or whatever that is that's going on, right? The final thing as a tip for that is to have a special toy or activity that they only get to use when you need them to be self-sufficient and occupied, so that you can get some focused alone time or work done or self-care or whatever that is for you that needs to happen right now. This is like maybe once at the most once a day kind of thing. Ideally like maybe once or twice a week kind of thing, so that it's special, so that they're excited, so that they know that like, oh, when this is happening, when I get to do this thing, it's super fun and I'm glad I get to do it. But it also means that that's mom's time. And then when she's done or I'm done, whatever, then we get back together and get to do things together. Okay? So I hope that that is helpful. I promised you I would let you know about the boundary setting workshop. So I did a workshop for a group of clients that I was working with, and it's called 60 minutes of daily guilt-free me time. It's exactly how to structure your tasks and timeline, and how to create chore charts that work for different ages and tasks that work for different ages, and prioritizing your own self and letting go of those kind of mindset limitations that we kind of put on ourselves, that it's not okay to ask for help, that everything needs to be perfect, those sorts of things. If you struggle with any of that and you'd like help with that, that is a perfect workshop for you to take. It goes along beautifully with this workshop that we already just completed. And I, in honor of helping moms everywhere avoid burnout, especially during this extra highly stressful time for a lot of people, I decided to offer this through the end of March at a 75% discount. So the link to that is on this page. So basically, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're just gonna go to the link underneath this video, and that's gonna take you to my webpage, which includes all of the steps and tips that I just went over in a written format in case you like to have that available for you to glance at instead of having to come back and watch this video again. That is there. The link to the worksheet is there. There's a link to my, like a filled in time schedule, daily schedule with examples of things to do in each block that I filled out to kind of help with inspiration if you need that. Or if you just want to take what I have and run with it, you can do that too, and then it's done for you. And then you just plug in your musts and your anchors and you're good to go. And then what else is on this page? Oh, also the links to the 5-minute energy booster cheat sheet and the 2-minute stress relievers cheat sheet. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope this is helpful for you. I really wanted to create something that was simple and streamlined and that you can take and use and integrate into your life right now, and help ease some of that stress and pressure that I'm sure you're feeling. And then also, if you have any comments or any questions at all or need additional support, go ahead and post those in the comments below. I will be circling back and responding to every comment and question. All right, again, it's Leah Borsky with Leah Borsky Wellness, and I look forward to hearing how this is working for you, so leave me those comments too. All right, thanks so much. Bye-bye.